So we're starting a geometry unit. We're going to start with angles. First, we will be classifying angles. The warm-up is just an introduction to get our feet wet. So Stacy used to be tardy all the time, but this quarter she's done a complete 180, and she's always the first person in class. So what does doing a 180 mean? Based on context, we should get the idea that doing a 180 means turning to the opposite. She was doing one thing, now she's doing the opposite thing. I'll ask if you've heard it used before. I have a lot of kids who are on skateboarding and other similar sports like extreme biking, snowboarding. If you know where the phrase doing 180 came from, please explain. And in almost every class I've had somebody say from angles, from measuring angles. So our objectives are that we will define angles and degrees of angle measurement and classify angles based on both appearance and the actual measurement in degrees. And there is homework. An angle is a measurement of turning or rotation. It is measured in degrees. In one full rotation, there are 360 degrees, and some kids started drawing the second blank and writing the little degree symbol, which I will probably start doing so I can keep up with my mouth. For example, this is Pac-Man. Pac-Man turns right, he makes a 90-degree turn. If he wants to go back the way he came, that's a 180-degree turn, turning backward. If he makes 3 right turns, 1, 2, 3, what direction will he be facing? Left. How many degrees did he turn? Well, it's another 90-degree turn, so it's 270 degrees altogether. 90 plus 90 plus 90. And if Pac-Man wants to make a full turn, face the way he was originally facing, then that's 360 degrees because it's a full rotation. And these are all multiples of 9. 9 times 10, 9 times 20, 9 times 30, 9 times 40. A quarter of a turn, half a turn, 3/4 of a turn, a full turn. Today we're only concerned with angles that are 180 degrees or less. We have the definition of an acute angle, which is an angle that is 90 degrees or less. So it could look like this, it could look like this, it could look like almost 90 degrees, but just a little bit less. Trying to get it to not curve, it's kind of difficult. An obtuse angle, a lot of people say more than 90 degrees, and that's half the definition, but we need another half this definition. And the other half of this definition is that it also has to be less than 180 degrees. Less than 180. So for example, like this, like this, like this. And right angle, usually really easy for everybody. A right angle is just a 90-degree angle. I'm just plugging my computer in. 90-degree angle. So it is that's going to be ugly. Let me try and do it with lines. $90-degree angle. Okay, so obtuse, acute, right. And a right angle gets this little square in there to let us know that it's a right angle. A straight angle is a 180-degree angle, or a line, a straight line, 180-degree angle. And you might see it marked with a circle. In fact, you might see any of these marked with this little round angle marking. It's not required, but if you see it, that's normal. So that's our angle classifications, and we're going to put them to use to help us remember them. Here's a turning example. I wanted to start with turning because I want the definite impression that angles have to do with turning more than distance. So this is Cassie. A lot of my kids ended up telling me, that's a character from Total Drama Island. I didn't know that when I found this. She's the model we're using for today's demonstration. Under each of her turns, we're going to write the number of degrees she's turning, what kind of angle that would make. So this angle, she starts facing this way, and she's still facing this way. So she didn't really move at all, so it's 0 degrees. She was facing this way, and now she's facing off a little bit this way. So that makes an acute angle. And we're going to assume that she went. Since the next one is kind of 90-degree thing where she was facing this way, now she's facing this way, 90 degrees, we're going to assume that this is halfway in between, and it kind of looks halfway in between. So halfway between 0 and 90, there's a 45-degree angle. Then she was facing this way, now she's kind of facing off that way. That is an obtuse angle. And here she was facing this way, and now she's facing that way. So that is a straight angle. She's facing the opposite direction, made a straight line. So that's 180 degrees. And halfway between 90 and 180, it's actually 90 degrees, so it's going to be another 45 to get to the middle. So 135 degrees would be in the middle. Just some examples of some turning rotations. Angles, what they look like. And here we have an acute angle. In class, I just ask the kids to all answer together. I'll give them a countdown, and then they'll all give me either acute, obtuse, right, or straight. This one's obtuse. This one is barely obtuse, but it is more than 90, so it is obtuse. This one is a right angle. That little box tells us that it is a right angle. This one is a straight angle. In fact, actually, let me erase that so that I can pull this up, and we can answer more of them. Okay. Straight angle. This is acute. This is obtuse because it's between 90 and 180. This is less than 90. This is 180, so it's straight. And this is less than 90. And if the kids have time, I might ask them to estimate measurements for these, and I usually get somewhere around 60 for this one, and I usually get somewhere around, I don't know, 130 for this one, maybe 120, 140, depends. And this one is, looks kind of like that one just flipped over, so that one might be 60 degrees also. Just to get a feel for it. And I also ask the kids to do the same with their homework and to put the type of angle in an estimated measure. We're trying to eyeball them because when we get to using a protractor, a very common mistake is using the wrong scale on the protractor. But if you have a really good concept of acute angles and obtuse angles in your head, then picking the right measurement is really easy. So that's why we're doing this estimation early on. And that is classifying angles, very short lesson. In fact, in most classes I had some extra time at the end and gave them some practice identifying triangles, acute, right, and obtuse triangles. But that is it.